Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to another episode of News Dose, where I give you all of the latest gaming news. And we got some crazy good looking PlayStation 5 footage to look at today. Sony did reveal some more PlayStation 5 gameplay, and PlayStation boss Jim Ryan is really making news right now with several comments he's made in interviews. One of which is talking about acquisitions, and will they try to counter what Xbox is doing with their acquisitions? Well, stick around and we will talk about that. Also, Xbox Game Pass is so good that it seems like a lot of people have a hard time believing it's sustainable. Well, head of Xbox Phil Spencer responded, and I got some good news on that front, so stay tuned for that as well. First though, let's go over some of the quick news, starting off with Pacer. Now, most of you probably aren't aware of Pacer, but this game was actually made by some ex-Studio Liverpool developers. Yeah, the same people who made Wipeout, and I know it was absolutely heartbreaking when that studio got shut down. Not only is it sad to see people lose their jobs, but there are a lot of Wipeout fans out there, and it's very possibly the best anti-gravity franchise alongside F-Zero. And for those people who do miss these type of games, Pacer might be the game for you. I'm hearing great things about Pacer. It's been on Steam for a few years now through early access, but now it's officially coming out today. It will be available on the PlayStation 4 and PC, and shortly after, it will be heading to the Xbox One. That version did unfortunately get pushed back a few weeks, but nonetheless, if you do like these type of games or Wipeout, this might be as close as you get to that franchise. Now, yesterday we talked about Nintendo releasing big AAA cloud-based games. They did reveal both Control and Hitman 3 will be available on the Nintendo Switch through the cloud. The way this works is they require you to download a separate launcher where they'll essentially let you play a demo of said game to make sure your internet is capable before buying that game. That's actually really interesting because it could be a great way for Nintendo to get some of these more demanding games on the Switch. I mean, the Nintendo Switch is a phenomenal device, but its weak point is that it's not technically a very powerful console compared to Xbox and PlayStation. Well, as long as everything runs smoothly, we could see a lot more Cloud Edition games like this pop up on the Nintendo Switch. And according to a data mine of the Control Cloud version website, that might be happening sooner rather than later. Yeah, it looks like Resident Evil 3 might be the next cloud-based game to come over to the Switch. Now, this is not confirmed just yet, but at the same time, I don't think this would be overly surprising. While cloud-based gaming on the Switch may be new to most of the world, they did actually experiment with this a few years ago. Back in 2018, Resident Evil 7 and Assassin's Creed Odyssey had cloud editions on the Nintendo Switch in Japan. They never made their way outside of Japan, but it must have been successful enough to start doing this with more games in other parts of the world. And as we're seeing here, Capcom might be willing to try this with another Resident Evil game. Resident Evil 3 did release earlier this year, and I could see a lot of Switch owners really enjoying this one. It's a pretty good game, though a little bit more action-based than some of the other installments in the franchise. I will ask you though, if you've tried Control on the Switch, how did it run for you? And also, do you like the idea of more Cloud Edition games coming over to the Switch? In other news, PlayStation revealed their PlayStation Plus November lineup, and I just have to say, they've been doing an excellent job with this service, and November is especially impressive. So for November, PlayStation 4 owners will get Hollow Knight and Middle-earth: Shadow of War, both of which are good games, but you also have to keep in mind that the PlayStation 5 launches in November, and Sony looks to reward early PlayStation 5 adopters with a brand new PlayStation 5 game. Yeah, Bugsnax will be available through PlayStation Plus, and I know people would like to joke about this game, but truthfully, I think it looks intriguing. I mean, I don't know if it'll be good or not, but I'm interested to find out for myself, and now that it's in PlayStation Plus, I get to try it out day one. That's not all though, because they're also adding the PlayStation Collection, which includes 20 PlayStation 4 games such as Bloodborne, Uncharted 4, The Last of Us Remastered, and Crash Insane Trilogy, among several others. Again, Sony is doing an excellent job with PlayStation Plus, and it should be a fun month for PlayStation fans. And speaking of PlayStation, one big question that much of the community has been wondering about: will Sony try to counter Microsoft with all of these acquisitions? I mean, Xbox has been acquiring a ton of talent in recent years, and even managed to buy out Bethesda, which is huge. So a lot of PlayStation fans want Sony to respond, And while Jim Ryan was asked about acquisitions in an interview with GameIndustry.biz, and this is what he had to say. It's probably not widely appreciated or understood to what extent that we have grown our own game development capability organically over the course of this generation. Obviously, it's been helped by the acquisition of Insomniac, and it's wonderful to have them as part of the family. I would just invite anybody to look at the launch window lineup of the PlayStation 4 generation or PlayStation 3 generation and compare it to what we are going to bring in the equivalent phase of PlayStation 5. There's just no comparison. That is the fruit of not massive spending sprees, but a very, very steadily, carefully planned, organic growth. So there you have it. He did apparently tell GameIndustry.biz that acquisitions were possible, but based off this comment, you probably shouldn't expect an acquisition the size of Bethesda. He clearly doesn't seem happy about the Bethesda acquisition here, and it almost seems like he's taking a shot at Microsoft for going on these spending sprees, which I do find odd. The truth is, Sony is no stranger to acquiring talent, and in fact, many of the studios they own have been acquired, including Naughty Dog, Insomniac Games, Sucker Punch, and Guerrilla Games, all of which has turned out to be some of the best studios in the entire industry. So this notion that they don't acquire studios isn't necessarily the case. Now, I will say that PlayStation typically acquires studios that they've exclusively worked with, and that's how the two differ here. Anyways, it does sound like that they could be interested in making an acquisition if the right opportunity presents itself to them. And about that, Bluepoint Games might be the perfect studio for PlayStation. They've been working together for a while now, and the new gameplay that they showed of the Demon's Souls remake today looks fantastic. Yeah, we did get some new gameplay of the Demon's Souls remake today, and it looks insanely good. Now, Bluepoint has always done a great job with remakes, but Demon's Souls might be the best looking launch game that I've ever seen, both from a visual standpoint and gameplay. It truly does look phenomenal. The lighting, the animations, the player models, and just everything. And if you follow the channel, you probably know I was a little concerned about some of the animations in the first trailer that they revealed, because it didn't seem like there was much impact, but it looks much better this time around. So yeah, if Sony tries to acquire any studio, Bluepoint would be the one that I think makes the most sense. If they continue with remakes though, maybe we could bring back Legends of Dragoon. I'm just throwing that out there. Let's talk about Xbox Game Pass though, because it almost seems like fans believe it's too good to be true. This really has been an ongoing conversation for well over a year now, and some of the community just doesn't believe Xbox Game Pass is sustainable as is. Because they're adding so much great content, and they're putting their own first-party games in at day one, some believe it just can't be sustainable for Microsoft. Well, according to Phil Spencer, that isn't the case at all, and here's what he had to say on the topic. I'll be honest, there are developers that have some concerns, and my inbox is there. And I have conversations with a lot of those developers asking what are our real long-term goals. You know, we get questions about, hey, is this just some kind of go secure a bunch of players and then rack the price up to a new level? I say there's no plan for us to do anything like that. We like the value of what Game Pass is today, and from a business model, it's completely sustainable the way it is, and I mean that. So there it is, and once again, it looks like Xbox Game Pass is here to stay as it is, and there is no need to worry about a price increase for the time being. It, however, does sound like this wasn't just a question from consumers, but also developers, but in both situations, Xbox Game Pass looks to be the best deal in all of gaming. I think that's a testament to just how good of a deal Xbox Game Pass is though. I mean, it's so good that there's that constant concern of, they surely have to increase the price. It just goes to show you that Xbox built something very special here with this service. Now with that said, that doesn't necessarily mean that the price will forever stay the same, but currently it just looks like there are no plans to change anything right now. I have to say though, I've always found this topic to be a bit amusing, because I don't really think fans need to be too concerned about this. I mean, if they ever do increase it and it's no longer worth it to you, then you can always just unsubscribe. There's nobody forcing you to stay subscribed. All I'm saying is just enjoy it right now. I can't predict what will happen 5 years from now, but I can say without a doubt, Xbox Game Pass is the best deal in gaming as of this moment, so just enjoy it. On to our last topic though, Halo Infinite once again has been involved in another controversy. Yeah, the development for this game has been nothing short of chaotic. We've been hearing for quite a while that the development of Halo Infinite has been turbulent, and then when we saw our first gameplay, it wasn't super impressive in terms of graphics. I mean, we all know about Craig by this point, and that's not what anybody expected for Halo Infinite on the Xbox Series X. Then eventually it did get delayed, and that was a very difficult decision for Microsoft to make. They were really making Halo Infinite their main focal point of the Xbox Series launch, and it looks like 343 Industries dropped the ball here. They seem to be behind on development, so from consumers' point of view, these are not great signs. And now we can add to that list as one of their lead directors, Chris Lee, has resigned. Yeah, so obviously fans are very concerned, and what does all this mean for Halo Infinite? Well, I don't think we need to be all doom and gloom for a few different reasons, and I want to start off by saying that. It definitely sounds like there have been some issues with the development for this game, but they did bring in Joseph Staten not long ago, which worked on some of the original Halo games. He was brought in to get things back on track, and I imagine this is a part of that. He's probably made some changes to get the ball rolling once again. They probably do want to release Halo Infinite in 2021, and I'm sure there's a lot of pressure to make this a good game. Now, as to why Chris Lee resigned, I don't know. All we can really do is speculate, but I do know he's still with Microsoft for the time being. But again, you still have Joseph Staten there, and that cannot be overlooked. I know there are going to be a lot of very passionate conversations around Halo, as it's not only a beloved game, but there's also a lot of people who want to see it fail. Yeah, let's be honest. There are some very toxic conversations that surrounds Halo Infinite. But I will say this, that first Halo Infinite gameplay trailer that we saw may not have been visually the most pleasing game, but from a gameplay standpoint, it looked good. It looked like a classic Halo game, and that's exactly what I want to see personally. By this point, Halo Infinite is pretty far in development, so I don't think losing Chris Lee is a death sentence to this game, unless there are plans to change large portions of the game. From what it looks like though, they're probably focusing more on the technical side of things, and with the delay, I'm sure they can get that fixed up. Again though, I understand the concerns, but we'll see what happens. Anyways though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget to hit the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.